All right, everybody, just coming in. It looks like we are starting the live show just about now. We have got today. What is today? Today is Monday, January 27th. The year is 2025, and there are so many crazy things going on in this world that we really can't even cover them all in one broadcast. Let's go ahead and drop some information where we're coming in from. Guys, you know that I am at the southern end of the Appalachian Trail here in Alabama. Hey, Jordan, good to see you. Everybody that's coming in from all over the USA. We have probably about a 90% US viewer base. So the things that are happening, even though they're global, are directly affecting us inside the USA, especially at least North America, because we do have a lot of Canada in here. Not too much Mexico. Houston, Texas, Calgary, Oklahoma, Sacramento. Good evening from Deborah Hoffman in Michigan. Wisconsin, Nukemal. Greetings from Pittsburgh, Sarasota, Florida. Jenks America. Never heard of no Jenks America. Well, guys, we are coming in. Donna, welcome from the member side of things. Let's see. This isn't news related, but I just wanted to remind you that you might be the few against the many, but I want you to watch this video in particular, okay? This is an Anatolian shepherd, a dog, right? One dog against all of these wolves. Now, this is obviously in a different part of the world. These wolves came up to attack it. They're trying to get behind it. They're trying to surround it. But this one dog was able to make sure that none of them got at its back, and it was able to keep itself safe. So that's just a reminder. This happens in human fights. It happens in mob environments. You have to be willing to get into that fight. You have to be willing. And that's what that dog was, willing to get into that fight. This says we have over 400 Texas Tactical Border Force soldiers. Now, what they're doing right now is deploying to the border in coordination with the U.S. Border Patrol. This is happening under the current administration, according to Governor Abbott. Let's take a look and a listen here. As we watch this, guys, I don't know about you, but I can tell we're going to war. Can you tell? I mean, I feel it. I can see it inside of all that we are doing. We are going to war. Now, it's starting off as a let's get the people who shouldn't be here or who are here criminally out of this country kind of war. I don't know where it's going to end up, honestly. It could end up as a war against preppers. It could end up as a war against, homesteaders. Who knows? Because the next one that's coming is going to be the bad one. Let's see what else we've got going on here. That was the Texas Tactical Border Force. Let's see here. Okay, so this is Dr. Sean Mullen. Okay, you like him or you don't like him. I don't care for him in particular, but these were some decent rules because we have a very big concern right now that bird flu is going to be modified in some way, and through that modification, it will start to affect humans on a pretty massive scale. And so we have to think about how we're going to handle the bird flu when it happens, or whatever else they cook up in some laboratory and give to us poor peon humans. So he says, rule number 1, be a critical consumer of research. Not all science is created equal. Some of it's driven by profit. Some of it's driven by politics. Learn to separate evidence from convenient narratives, even when it's not comfortable. Rule number 2, and I'm just going to summarize here a little bit. He says, protect yourself even if others won't. Prioritize your health. Now, he goes on to say use mask and air filtration. Guys, if it's a 50% death rate, like Russia says the next one's going to be, there ain't no amount of masks or filtration that are going to do you any good. Nothing but isolation. Question the narrative of normal. Just because something seems familiar doesn't make it safer, right? Boy, I wish some people were listening to questioning the normal when they were trying to get you to put on some questionable things inside of you. Don't you wish so? Winter. Okay, this was funny. I remember Al Gore. Guys, I grew up in the Captain America days, right? Captain Planet, excuse me. So Captain Planet, that was all a show that was pretty heavily propagandized towards children. And I know it sure made me growing up real scared that I was doing something that was completely destroying the planet. So here's Al Gore, 1993, says winter will be a thing of the past by the year 2000. And meanwhile, in the Gulf of America, as you notice, we're starting to call the old-time Gulf of Mexico now the Gulf of America. This is what's happening. You have Florida in snow. Let's see what else we've got here. Shooting reported today at Martin's Supermarket in Indiana. Now, let's just take a quick look here.
It was. Yep. It was. Yep.
So this is not going to stop happening. We're going to keep having these types of things happen across the country. Every grocery store trip needs to be thought of. Every dropping the kids off at school needs to be thought of. You've got to really take these things into consideration because, let's face it, the police are there after the event. Hold on, let me see. Kelly's calling me on the phone. Let me take this real quick. Hey, Kel, I'm in a live show. Do you need something? Cal. I think she butt dialed me, everyone, because I don't... I hear her talking, but I don't hear anything going on. So I think it was just a backpack dial or a butt dial. I'm going to have my oldest son reach out to her and make sure everything's okay. Hey, will you reach out to mom and make sure everything's okay? She butt dialed me. So you got to keep those things. I would just, you can't just put it out of your head. Maybe I couldn't hear anything else going on, but maybe I was supposed to listen to something there. So you got to make sure that it makes sense. If somebody butt dials you, take a minute and just give it a listen and see. So these types of events, these shootings are not going to slow down. We're going to see more and more of this. Jordan says, oh, Kelly, married life. That's right. We've been together 20 years, over 20 years now. So I'm used to not my fair share of butt dials, but, I've caught once or twice. Let's see. President Trump. Now he says here, and let's listen to him first.
Happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff
Very true, metaphysical.
Commission of 1887. And this commission had one function, what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was.
So what's Trump talking about here?
When McKinley was
might be talking a little bit about abolishing the taxes. He's saying that instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Now, I don't know if that speaks to you, but it sure as heck speaks to me. And it speaks to me because I know that my money, your money, our family's money, our kids' money, every time I go buy groceries, if you're in a state that charges taxes on groceries, every time that you get paid, every time you pay someone, what's happening to that money? They are making it rain on Israel. They're making it rain on Ukraine. They're making it rain on all their hoes in all the other countries. But are they helping North Carolina? Not until Trump got in and did something about it. Are they helping Florida? Not until recently. How about Louisiana? They're still going to use your tax money for that. Do you and I need a coliseum or an arena or anything? I'd rather see people who can't afford to put their roofs back on their houses get some help before we rebuild a stadium. But we are in a consumerist world, or a bread and circus world, so we do have to acknowledge that that's important to a lot of people. So yeah, before I pay taxes, I definitely need some of these other countries to be taxed. And that money help out American citizens in some way. So we do need to start thinking about that kind of thing. Let's see what else he's got to say.
Killed. He took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money, and that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
There you go. That's him saying it right there. So the red line that he's crossing, guys, he's crossing so many red lines, he might as well be walking around with a rake full of, red markers or crayons in front of him because he's just stepping over all of them. Now, they're saying that what he has done with the AI technological revolution, crossing a red line because it's changing things. What he's talking about with taxes, another red line. The fact that our homeboy, RFK Jr., is about to get in and flip the FDA and the USDA and everybody upside down. Another red line by the administration. The current Secretary of Defense, another red line. It just doesn't stop. So one of two things are going to happen here. One, there really is going to be change. And we're going to watch it in our cities and in our states. Hopefully it's for the people. Two, he's going to cross so many red lines and push so many buttons that they come after him again and his administration and everybody down there. Nemesis, hey, good to see you. Yeah, I'm glad you caught it too. So here he is saying that we need to tax the other countries instead of taxing American citizens. Let's see.
In particular, in the very near future, we're going to be placing tariffs on foreign production of computer chips, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals to return production of these essential goods to the United States of America. They left us and they went to Taiwan, which is about 98% of the chip business, by the way. And we want them to come back. And we don't want to give them billions of dollars like this ridiculous program that Biden has. Give everybody billions of dollars. They already have billions of dollars. They've got nothing but money, Joe. They didn't need money. They needed an incentive. And
appreciate you, NJ Preppin. Yeah, when the bread and circus goes, that's when people wake up, and they know that. Now, it is weakening. I'm sure you guys have seen the numbers that nobody's watching NFL like they used to. The UFC didn't do it, even though they tried to bring back gladiator-style bread and circus. You don't see people as interested in... Now, you got your diehards, don't get me wrong. You've got your people out there who can't do anything but breathe and yerk to football, baseball, soccer, whatever you want to call it. But the majority of the populace kind of took a back seat on it. And so they are losing their grip a little bit on the bread and circus style of things. Let's see what some people have to say. It's time for America first. Fantastic. Trump is you know what they had to say there. Time to pull some wire. People are saying, oh my God. All right, this is a horrific story that is emerging out of Western North Carolina, according to this post. Haven on the Hills confirms that over 50 families are there living like refugees, and they have been since the disaster. They rely solely on the food and donations of propane just to be able to survive day to day. Let's take a watch. Now, this is some of the information of when it happened, of course. I'm just going to kind of skip around here. I mean, look at this, guys. These are, and I would hope that if this happens in your community, that this is the type of community that would be built in a disaster. And I mean, these are, a lot of them are donated campers, donated motorhomes. A lot of them are kind of like field outposts for people who are there trying to work to get people back into their homes. But this is what you're going to see in long duration, even medium duration emergencies. Because let's face it, North Carolina right now is just a medium duration emergency. Maybe a year from now, it'll be a long-term one. Do you think you could survive in that type of environment like this? I mean, I know I could, but you got to think about your kids, their effect. You got to think about everything. So let's make sure that we don't get there. Let's see what she's got behind her here. Paper towels, which you know I'm not a paper towel user. I don't think you should have them. They're great for convenience. It's a consumerist waste that they made us believe. I've got a whole bin full of white towels that we just bleach and reuse instead. But that's okay. You've got some, looks like powdered eggs in the bottom left-hand corner. Let me minimize this so you can see here. Looks like powdered eggs in the bottom left-hand corner over here. What else have we got? Some food, some water, just like it's just an outpost, right? So expect many more of these horrific stories to come out now that help is finally arriving. All right, let's see what else is going on. Okay, this kind of made me chuckle today. This is homeboy Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk is a gamer, or so they say. There's some people coming out saying, no, he's just paying people to play for him. But I've watched some streams where he's definitely playing some games. So I like a guy who can sit back and find some enjoyment in a video game once in a while. But I just want you to watch. Maybe he is AI. Let's just watch what this is. Elon Musk and a Sims character, supposedly one for one. God, I love it. You know, when we look through the Matrix and we see that there's just some weirdness going on, some weird coincidence. Now, maybe Musk is on top of the memes and he's doing it on purpose. I don't know. But definitely some strange events with him and Bezos and Surfer Bro Zuck. Okay. This is businesses emptying out. I guess ice raids are happening literally everywhere across the country.
Señores, estamos aquí en Sprinter. Migración está llevando gente. Tengan cuidado porque
I'm gonna mute this because I don't know what this guy's saying. I don't know Spanish in any sort of fluency. But they're saying that these agents are showing up in unmarked vehicles, coming in quick and getting people identified and out of here. Yeah, it is a crazy world today. Maybe he's a hologram. You know, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him. So that's a little bit of what's happening there. All right, this was very interesting. 2024, Dr. Wahome talked to Uganda's president about the World Health Organization's neonatal tetanus vaccine campaign. Happened in Kenya back. Now, this is important for us to remember that these things are happening in our modern world. There's a lot of times here in Western media, they're going to talk about, hey, Jason, they're going to talk about, you know, what happened in our prison system in the 1960s, 1970s, the terrible things we did to people in this country. And they'd be like, oh, we're not like that anymore. We're better people. But here's Bill Gates and here's other nonprofit organizations and all of these groups who are still using humans as test subjects or with a bigger agenda. And let's hear what happened.
Things that have caused great concern to us. In 2014, 2015, WHO brought tetanus eradication campaign in our country. It was a campaign to eradicate
10 years
neonatal
ago.
tetanus, babies who are born who eventually get tetanus. And the vaccine that was used is a different type of a tetanus vaccine that is a fertility regulating vaccine.
Okay.
Where they take tetanus and combine it with a hormone called human chorionic gonadotropin that supports pregnancy. And when you inject a woman with that vaccine, she produces antibodies against that hormone and therefore is rendered sterile. So we are noticing an increase in the number of infertility cases among young couples who you examine and they are normal but cannot get children, or couples who are losing 3, 4, 5 pregnancies.
So they're going, because they don't have certain rules and regulations in place, they're going to test on people where rules and regulations don't matter first. Or they're going to use an emergency order to test on you, to test on your family, your kids, and they're going to tell you everything's fine and how important it is. But then the truth will start to come out. Let's see, tetanus. So if anybody who doesn't know what tetanus is, I mean, it's nasty. Don't get me wrong. But the way they do these things, it's a bacteria. Now, a lot of times you're going to find tetanus, I guess, in the soil. It's prone to being on things that are rusty. So like if you're jumping over barbed wire, you get a puncture there. A lot of people get and clear tetanus because it's just in a scrape or on top of the soil. If you have a weakened immune system, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not doing any of that. But that's just historically from universities and from government studies how it happens. So they gave these people, especially the women, tetanus with a certain type of HCG inside of it. And then the body started rejecting HCG, and it basically made them immune to getting pregnant. Is that on purpose? Is it just a side product, a side effect? Well, I don't know. Here's Border Czar Homan. Now he's here with, I don't know if this guy was actually a child trafficker or whatever, but here he is with Dr. Phil. Let's listen.
Say the what? You have a first and last name.
Sam.
Say the Sam.
Yes.
Where you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where you born?
Thailand.
You been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never been deported?
But I've been in the system before.
B&B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been charged with
Charged with?
before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not talking about lawyer.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom's a citizen.
Your mother's a citizen,
Yes.
but you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
You Dr. Phil. You look like Dr. Phil.
Yeah?
Hey,
How do you
Prince
know
Gold.
me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, you know, on TV.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is an example of sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien convicted of sex crimes involving children. He's walking the streets of Chicago.
Now, guys,
Again.
there you go. There's Homan right there. Now, this is allegedly, okay? I don't know the what's actually going on here. I haven't looked into this guy, but there's Homan, Borders are, Dr. Phil, saying that they've got a person who is a child trafficker off the streets. Now, if that could happen about 6 million more times, then I'd be very happy. Let's see. They're saying never in this area in downtown LA has it ever been not packed. And here we have just empty. Was that Jesse Ventura? No, don't troll me like that. So here we have just completely empty streets. Now I'm getting videos after videos just like this. And these videos show empty Home Depots, empty Walmarts, empty street corners. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not there. We are not there. Maybe they're taking them early in the morning. Okay, Daryl, appreciate it. Maybe they're taking them, I don't know, at times that aren't normally busy, but it sure is looking like nobody wants to be out in the street. Now, I'm also hearing from a lot of people that the next phase of this is going to be some sort of revolution. Now, that's scary to me, right? If we've got some sort of revolution being talked about, we have a really big problem because they're not going to stop at the boys with the badges on. They're going to come after anybody. And that's where things get pretty scary. Let's move forward. Today, cartels firing on U.S. border agents.
Cartel members tried
Texas.
to bring a group of illegal immigrants across the river. The agents fired back. No one on either side was hit. The group of illegal immigrants did not make it across the Red River. Now, this expected.
So I've seen multiple videos of this happening today where you have, I don't know if they're cartels. I mean, they might just be organized groups of people. And they're firing at our border patrol. They're firing at our soldiers that are on the border. And they're firing at people. And that, again, if they start talking about that revolution thing, I appreciate it, Donna. If they start talking about that revolution thing, that's where we start to get into some really scary times. Oh, I can't go back to that. Okay, opening a can of whoopee. The D there. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, power stocks plunging. Why do you think that is? Well, China just came out and said, we don't need all these nuclear power plants that you're trying to build. We don't need all of this expensive equipment or the billions and trillions of dollars that you say we need for artificial intelligence, even AGI, even human level artificial intelligence, because they built it for pennies, fractions of the amount. Now, sure, were they using some NVIDIA chips? Okay, probably. But still, could they do it for, 1% of what we're being told it has to be done for here in the USA? Because where Biden was right is that a new power structure is coming into play, and it's a tech structure. He said the oligarchy. He was all worried and warning about this because Biden is part of the old one, the military-industrial complex, where they would take your tax money, make it rain on their hose in Ukraine, scoop it up over there in shovels, put it in their backpack, and come back over here to the USA. That's the old military-industrial complex oligarchy. So he's part of that one. He's upset that he's not a part of the new one. Maybe Trump is. I don't know. We won't know. History won't tell us for 5-10 years or until we see a pattern of behavior. So we just kind of have to watch. Now, power companies, the stock market is starting to react because they're like, oh man, they were ready to make bank. They were like, shh, it was perfect. Yeah, I can flip this around on words. So it was perfect. They were real happy that you were going to see the need for huge amounts of power plants, nuke plants, everything. They were loving it because that means the power companies were going to make money. So now if you don't need it for AGI, that means you don't need them. So power companies that are exposed to the tech sector suffered during a plunge. They closed 30% lower, erasing their gains that they have taken up from 2025. It was a huge sell-off. Let's see. This is a representation, the number of people per 1,000 people who take antidepressants. Global antidepressant users per 1,000 people. Korea and Chile with the lowest amounts. Hungary reaching up there. Italy a little more. Thank you so much, Carla, the cooking CEO. Keep watch. Nevertheless, never let your guard down. That's right. Should open a criminal orphanage. I did see that Selena thing, and then she had to take it down today. And she was like, oh, I can't believe I can't, speak my mind. Well, she can't, I guess, because everyone who wants that money machine to keep going said, shut it. So what's the difference here between Estonia, the Netherlands, needing only 42 people per 1,000 to be on an antidepressant, and the United freaking States of America with 110 people per 1,000 needing to be on antidepressants? Now, what is that? You tell me what percentage that is. 10% of the population on an antidepressant, popularized by doctors who are out there saying, whatever problem you have, let's just fix it with a pill. Now, we don't even understand what the 5, 10-year, 20-year, 30-year problems are going to be like from this, besides a mind-numbed population. Some of what we know is it's going to see that could be an attribution of current dementia or neurodegenerative disease increases. I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you the studies that we have seen. What else is happening? We won't even know for years, guys. Here's the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Twitter, X account, whatever. To report suspicious activity, call 1-866-DHS-2-ICE to report a crime. Then you can call the tip line. There's no shortage of people. I know people who are like, I'm calling on, the guy down the street just because. That's where we get a little iffy on this whole revolution thing. Need more vitamin D from the sun and gut health, not medical advice. If only we had doctors who would prescribe some good old outdoors time, maybe a little sport or something. Let me see if I can refresh this and get some of what the people were saying. What constitutes suspicious activity? President Trump speaking in Vegas. Let's see what Vance had to say here.
And in addition, all of the members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, who I know gave Pete the vetting and the hearing that he deserved, and I'm glad that we all ultimately decided.
Well, I was back on the 25th.
The president's nominee.
So nothing really going on there with Vance today. Okay, Musk, what you doing there, homeboy? I don't know, guys. You catch them all, right? I don't think, for me, there's not really any good reason for people to be doing some crazy things that they do. Here's the Gulf of America with a standardized American Trump toupee on it. Hey, I'm suspicious, monkey. Are you freaking suspicious? Exceptions for every rule. Don't get Vanilla Ice kicked out of this country, people. That's not the kind of help we need, poor Dora. Okay, all right. I can feel, you get that feeling when you just need to stop. Okay, I'm going to stop there and let's get back to some other things that are happening. All right, we've got President Trump signing executive orders to launch a U.S. version. Was it a toupee or a toupee? A U.S. executive order to launch a Iron Dome here at the homeland. Now, it's been a long time coming that we need some sort of missile defense system here because and an Iron Dome's not going to defeat Russia's Satan II missile. If Russia ever releases that Satan II missile on the USA, wherever it's headed, I just hope I'm not there. And that's all I can say. Because that missile and the delivery system and the payload that they're going to put on it is going to hit its target most likely. And that's scary. I mean, we know that, Tyler Robbins, we know that there's not much you can do against it. Now, maybe we'll come up with some crazy stuff. I hope so. The order accelerated the development and deployment of hypersonic and ballistic tracking space sensor layers, proliferated space-based interceptors. Maybe we're running to some space war stuff here. Notwithstanding the increasing threat, the United States Homeland Missile Defense Policy has been limited to staying ahead of rogue nation threats. So now they're trying to get us ready for Russia, it looks like. Maybe China. Rapid Response 47. This is the official rapid response account of the Trump 47 White House, supporting Donald Trump. Let's see, what is I've heard a lot about this today, so let's see if we can catch some info on it. Trump White House rolls out social media account to hold fake news accountable. I don't think so. Vox, let's see if I can beat you here with a little F5 and escape. Welcome to the official rapid response account of the Trump 47 White House, supporting the Trump administration, labeling certain news outlets as fake news for reporting. Is it official? You guys know? Even if it is official, does it have any accountability with it? The administration had a rapid response X account, but the account was focused on breaking news. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, right? Now, anything that they build to use against certain groups or demographics, they're going to use it against you or me eventually. So I'm just in that kind of like, wait, I'm not going to F around to find out. I'm just in that, I'm WAFO. I think WAFO has a negative connotation. Hold on, let me see here. Hopefully not. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of some other acronym. So I'm WAFO. We're waiting around to find out, because that's whatever they build, whether it's the immigration defense league, whatever it is, eventually, if it's strong enough, it will be used against you and me. So we're just kind of waiting there. You're right, SV, that we do have a type of missile defense, but it's not great. And because it's not great, it doesn't have any capabilities of greatness. Trapped miners. Here, guys, you want to talk about what it's going to be like in a disaster? Trapped miners resorting to cannibalism after the police blocked their food and water. Survivors tell how their colleagues broke the taboo to avoid dying of hunger. So this is horrible, absolutely horrible. Survivors speaking quietly on how they recount how emaciated miners broke down and started eating their fellow miners that were trapped. If you don't think cannibalism will happen in your city, you have no idea about history. We are not somehow magically beyond the atrocities that humans have performed for centuries. There was no great awareness wake up in our lifetime that was like, you know what, we're so far beyond that. We've really elevated ourselves. This is a dog eat dog, hit or get hit, stand on top of the mountain type of world. And it's never, ever going to change. They retrieved multiple bodies, but hundreds of survivors. Smoked them out. Illegal mining is common. The government has taken a popular hard line on what it is. Police said it was too dangerous to enter because they confronted armed criminal gangs. Instead, they would stop supplies to smoke them out. So here you have not innocent. I mean, they were working, whatever they were doing. They were just trying to work and make a buck, right? But these guys weren't the armed gangs. They were just down there getting paid way too little to try and get some resources so that they could make food for their family. The government stepped in and said, we're not going to give them food. And what did they do? They started eating each other. Mile-wide volcano threatens to erupt off of the U.S. West Coast this year. Could you imagine what our 2025 will be like if that's the type of craziness we see this year? a mile-wide volcano erupt right off of the west coast. They say it's an underground volcano. It's going to erupt sometime this year. Axial seamount lies around 480 kilometers off of Oregon coast. Previously erupted 3 times, 98, 2015. Why would they put that backwards like that? Who wrote this? I mean, I'm dyslexic, folks, so I get it. But 1998, 2015, and 2011, it's probably AI, and AI just didn't care. A geophysicist with the Indiana University of Pennsylvania told a meeting of the American Geophysical Union that activity taking place there. Yeah, you're right. AI wrote this. Blame ChatGPT. So that it was going to erupt in 2025 because it has had these 3 eruptions in the last 30 years. That's why we call it the most active volcano in the Pac Northwest, because most of the ones on land aren't active that frequently. They spend a lot of their time slumbering. If it's not erupting, it's inflating. It's getting ready to erupt. And that's kind of how I view our whole world right now, right? If it's not erupting, it's getting ready to. They say it's inflating. And so I guess it's like a self-healing balloon. You keep just putting pressure inside of it. It blows up, heals up. Keep putting more pressure. And that's kind of what we see. Let's see. Let's move fast. Let's move past and fast. They say, how is the mafia weaponizing wildfires? Now, here's an interesting take, right? We had all these wildfires kick off. And everybody's like, hey, maybe it's Russia. Maybe it's China. Maybe it's the USA. Maybe it's the insurance companies. Who knows who's paying these people to go light these fires? And the media is like, hold on. We got this. Let's say it's the mafia. So let's see what they've got to say. Thousands, and this is over in Italy. They've said the same thing about us here in America. Thousands of uncontrolled wildfires tearing through Italy, fueled by scorching temperatures. And the winds, they say, the climate crisis, pouring gasoline on these blazes. Now, don't get me wrong. Cyclical weather change, gonna keep happening around this planet. Florida getting 10 inches of snow when we're told the opposite, I don't know what to think about it. So I'm just waiting around to find out. Fire clusters in the area where mafia control is strong. They say there's increased scrutiny on these criminal elements. They are weaponizing the fire in these regions. The Sopranos must be doing it. Florida got all Oregon snow for real. Hey, dude, love your news program. Thanks, Melissa. I appreciate it. I believe in Kim. Which Kim is it? Kim Jong-un or a different Kim? All right, so here's their propaganda about the mafia and what's going on there. Who did I see there? Was that Bruce Willis? I don't know. All right, let's move forward. Rare human case of bird flu detected in UK as the public is issued an urgent reminder. The only reason that I take this type of thing so seriously is because of that PDF that Russia put out as soon as they went into Ukraine. Russia said, look, we took over the biolabs here, the ones that America was funding and fueling. And they delivered to the world exactly what was happening there. That there was an attempt to make a bird flu with a 30 to 90% fatality rate. You get a 20% fatality rate, the world's over. A 30% or a 90% one, now we're starting to make sense of all these, depopulation agendas going on. Can you imagine that if you're out there in the world and 6 to 9 out of all the 10 people that you see are gone in 2 weeks? You want to be scared that there's no migrants to pick the oranges. Guys, there's nobody to keep the power on. There's nobody to run the cell phone data centers. There's nobody to do anything. The number of people that it takes to operate this country in a way that we consider normal is astounding. And so I'm not sure what J26 has to say there. So I take it seriously because of that, because Russia said that it was going to happen and they showed, quote, proof of what was going on. So I keep it back there in my head like, I'm not just going to discount it. All right, let's see. Mail Online wants me to view ads, so let me do that old F5 and escape. FBI has begun a nuclear incident drill in New York State amid new fears of World War III. Let's see. Okay, all right, hit that escape hard. I'm like a gambler here, smacking that button. The drills began on Sunday, but the agency said the public may now see personnel practicing out in the open. It ends in 4 days, January 31st. The training exercises, and anytime they tell you there's a training exercise, you need to watch out. The training exercises pose no risk to area residents. Don't be alarmed by their activity. They say they simulate a radiological attack. These exercises enable response personnel to practice protecting public health. They're not going to care about your public health. You know what they care about? Keeping the roads free, keeping the power on, keeping the water running, keeping the poop swooshing away through the sewer systems, and keeping the cell phones alive, keeping the food running through semi-trucks. That's all they care about. Continuity, to continue government. The whole continuity of government plan is to continue government. So for them to say that they're exercising to enable response and practice protecting public health, that's a little bit of a half-truth there. The FBI emphasizes that the exercises pose no threat. It comes a month after Vladimir Putin warned that World War III would erupt. The West continues to escalate the situation. Let's see. Putin accused the West of pushing Russia to its red lines, threatening to lift all voluntary restrictions on the deployment of short and medium-range missiles if the USA went ahead and deployed similar weapons. The FBI, Albany Public Affairs Officer Sarah Ruwan, says, "I believe planning for this one began back in the spring." She added that these drills are not due to any recent or ongoing world events. The exercise, they say, will primarily occur at or around the Stratton Air National Guard Base, the Albany International Airport, and portions of the northern Saratoga County. They say this is an exercise of the National Technical Nuclear Forensics Ground Collection Task Force. Who came up with this? NTNFGCTF. Like, why wouldn't you minimize that a little bit? Just call it the Nuke Bros. This is an exercise of the National Technical Nuclear Forensics Ground Collection Task Force, which would support the investigation of a nuclear incident. The task force mission is to collect nuclear debris samples for analysis. Okay, now that's fishy, right? That speaks out as fishy to me. Why have you got a 6-day exercise with the sole purpose, they're telling you it's to protect public health, but to collect samples to be analyzed? Because let's face it, if there's a radiological accident or a systematic nuclear attack, they're not going to need to collect samples. You can pick them off the cotton shirts, the shoe soles, and the skin of the people who are left. So that's a little fishy. Details about the exercise are unknown. Well, then how do we know they're there to collect samples? Previous events saw simulated scenarios in which personnel had to respond. In 2024, just reading what everybody's saying here. Free up the interstates for military use only. Yep, in times of war. Anticipating a dirty... In March 2024, the New Jersey, Delaware, and Idaho National Guard participated in an interagency chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and high-yield explosive training event with the FBI, as well as state and local law enforcement. In one scenario, the FBI received intelligence that a domestic terrorist group had planted some sort of, including one with cesium-137, as more than 10,000 people are about to converge on the Cure insurance arena to listen to the vice president. Well, that's some interesting kind of like scenarios and timing worth looking into. That exercise called for the entire structure to be searched, from the catwalks crisscrossing above the floor to the rooms and suites. A similar one was held in North Dakota called Global Thunder 25. The purpose of Global Thunder 25 was to enhance nuclear readiness, ensure a safe and secure and effective strategic deterrence force. The U.S. military, joined by NATO partners, including personnel from the UK. Okay, did you guys see the United Nations building a data center in Indiana? Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. UN Data Center, Indiana. I'm kind of having to type around my keyboard, so let's see. Of course, you're not going to find too much information. UN Data Center. No, that's Indiana gun owners. I don't think that's it. Google planning a center. Let's see if maybe we've got some images of the blue hats that are working. Isn't that funny? Let's go to X and let's see if maybe X has got something on it. Let's see. United Nations, Indiana. Here we go.
The UN. No joke.
United Nations, building a data center. Okay, I guess here's a link for it. Let's take a look at that. Oh, maybe the link doesn't work anymore. Okay, here we go. IU Indianapolis Sustainability. The UN Sustainability Development Goals. Don't you love that? Inside the USA. Maybe this is, I mean, it says Indiana University right there. It's on the Indianapolis.edu website discussing the UN sustainability goals. Now, there's a lot of big agenda going on here. And I guess what it took, hey, William, thanks for letting us know. I guess all it takes for you to be, a part of their agenda is to want to push these goals. No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education. And these are great blankets, guys, right? Because let's face it, no poverty. Can you ever tell me a place in history that we've ever had no poverty? Can't be done. Zero hunger? Can't be done. Good health and well-being? Varying degrees, right? Quality education? I mean, I thought we used to have it in the USA. Used to. Equality, okay. Clean water and sanitation. Affordable and clean energy. Affordable for who? Affordable for them to make, because we're there. They've used your tax money. They've built massive solar panel, solar array fields and farms, but they charge you more. So hold on, they got breaks from the government, your tax money to build it. They've got 20-year life on the solar panels, but they're charging you more for your electricity? Where is this making sense? Affordable and clean energy. Decent work and economic growth. So you can't really have those two things. Decent work and economic growth and no poverty and zero hunger. Because unless that's just economic growth for the country. Industrial innovation, reduced inequality, sustainable cities, responsible consumption and production. Action for the climate, life below water. What does that even mean? Life? Do you think all the fish are dead? Life on land, peace and justice. This is on the Indiana University, Indianapolis website. I don't even know what to think about this. Okay, there's Trump. We know we're doing that Russian, nuclear drill. So watch out, I guess, until the 31st, because maybe there's some weird things going on. And watch out when you're in public. I know I'm going to. Let's move past that. Working Americans turn to food banks, because of the UN development goals, where there's no hunger, no poverty. But Americans, paying all our tax money for these goals, are turning to food banks because they can't afford food for their family. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Once a month, Kirsten Ishak visits a food pantry in Virginia, stretching her family's budget. Her husband works at a big box retailer. Let me guess, is it a Walmart? She works as a substitute teacher. They have income, but with prices up 23% over the past 5 years and still rising, they just can't do it. Food banks across the nation are finding a similar story. Post-pandemic waves of demand for food driven by working people caught in a cost of living crunch. This is a new era of food insecurity, says Emily Engelhard, vice president at Feeding America, the largest U.S. relief organization. Trust me, Emily there is probably driving that Bentley. She's probably whipping her Lambo. She's probably got 3 different houses. But hey, who am I to say anything? It says this isn't an unemployment issue. It's a cost of living issue. And I think it is a cost of living. I mean, do you know anybody? Let me know in the comments. Do you know anybody who is living their best life but isn't in a field that's directly represented by tech or the military industrial complex? I don't know anybody who's living their best life that isn't in one of those fields. Everybody else is like, $100 to walk out with this little basket of food that's going to rot by tomorrow if I don't cook it tonight? Okay, the rise in hunger highlights what's at stake, they say. Okay, that's a little, I don't need to get into that. Everyone sees prices getting high, food, clothes, everything. It's run by Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Arlington. You know. Okay, let me stop there. 28,000 meals per month on average. They say at first it was exhilarating. Isn't that great? Ethan Amos, the food bank's president. And then it was exhausting. Isn't it great? Exhilarating. We expected things to slow down. It never did. The food bank serves more than 40,000 meals per month using the same equipment and space it had 10 years ago. Guys. I mean, the empathy that I have for our family and friends out there, I just wish, you know what we need? I saw a video today, and I always suspect videos of being setups, right? But the video was like, it was titled that this is what every, working man needs to hear. Or working woman, I don't care. If you're in California, working men, I don't care. But it was one partner saying to the other how appreciated they were that they were not able to only help feed their family, but also help whatever their friends were, or maybe it was extended family members. And they were like, you're not only feeding this family and thriving this family, you're also helping somebody else. And so that's where we need to be as people. If you've got it, try to help. Stop being lazy, raise their own kids instead of letting the evil government do it. I mean, have you seen some people? It's like a worst of evils at some point. U.S. Border Patrol agents exchanging gunfire with the Mexican drug cartel. Now, we watched a video about this earlier in the broadcast today. According to the reports, there were no injuries, probably because neither of them can shoot. Multiple law enforcement sources said that within an hour period, they had a confrontation with cartel gunmen as a group of illegal aliens were being brought across the river. They're told that the Border Patrol returned fire. Nobody was hit on either side, and the illegal aliens did not make it across. Now, they say the suspected cartel had fired shots from the Mexican side of the territory for years. Things have escalated, they say, in unprecedented ways. Texas is working closely with the administration to secure the border. I don't want to be there. Do you guys want to be there? The chat bot. I think we're about out of time tonight. Thank you guys so much. Before I read these final things, thank you guys for being here. And thank you to all of our members. The members were like, Brad, when you do, put this out there for everybody. They didn't want just extra content on the member side. They were like, put it out there for everybody. So I've got 2 things I can take a shot of, Kevin. One, I've got a mason jar full of dried cranberries here. I can take a shot of that. Or I've got a stainless steel full of water. Or I guess I could put a little bit of organic turmeric in it and take a shot of that. So those are 3 things. That's nasty old coffee. That's worse than any sort. Any shot is some cold, nasty old coffee. So thank you to all the members. And guys, if you want to join our family here, if you want to join the FSS family, down by the subscribe button down there, you'll see the button that says join. Just click that and consider joining us there. Bourbon for me, they said cartels are mad that Trump is changing things. I'm glad you caught us live too, Tyler Robbins. The drone was bright white. Cayenne pepper will clear things up. Herbs, nasty old coffee. Yeah. So nobody said to take a shot at anything, so I guess water it is, guys. Thank you all for being here. Love you guys so much. So Chinese chatbot sparked alarm in the country as the country advances in artificial intelligence. They wiped $1 trillion off of the global stock market in the last 36 hours. $1 trillion. And this AI bot, if I go onto it right now, guess what? You can't even ask it about that Square incident. It's like, that's outside of my scope. I can't tell you about that. So it is heavily censored. Not that it'll probably tell you more herbalist medicine that you could try out on your own than any of the heavily censored Chat GPT or even Grok is okay. If I'm like, hey, what can I take to help with this? Grok will be like, hey, I'm not a doctor, but here's what you can do. And that's X.com or Twitter's AI chatbot. DeepSeek will probably tell you a lot of traditional Chinese medicine that you can use, but they're all censored. They say NVIDIA has become the world's most valuable company, and they're going to upset that. This is upsetting to me. Speaking of upset, they say that our eggs, they're getting us ready to never have lower prices. Ever. Eggs are going to be expensive forever. They say, I wish I had good news, but I don't. Egg prices are soaring. On the other side of the equation, seasonal factors, okay, they're giving a whole bunch of fluffing reasons. There's some expectation, and this is Brian Moscow-Geary, global trade strategist, says we're in uncharted territory. It seems as bad as it's ever been, and the producers don't even have a recourse, meaning they have no plan of action. I think we're going to see, I don't know, could you imagine $13 dozen eggs? I'll be rich with my backyard hens. I'll be Scrooge McDucking it over here. It seems highly unlikely that we'll see a $2 egg market anytime soon. Managing editor for Eggs at the Americas. Who even is Eggs in the Americas? What are these things? Maybe they're just pulling names out of AI's behind. Trump immigration crackdown underway. The Israeli prime minister visiting the White House soon, as early as next week, according to this. Trump fires Justice Department officials who prosecuted him. New White House artificial intelligence czar says Chinese company shows AI race is competitive. Colombia sends military planes. We already caught that. Let's see, 13 new updates here. Memo instructs CDC, no more communication with the World Health Organization. More than 1,100 arrests in immigration. And now we hit the 1K mark, so I think we're going to start seeing that every day. They say up to like 240,000 people just in Florida are there illegally. I don't even know if those numbers can work out. Can they? Well, let's see if, speaking of censorship, let's see what X and Grok will tell us about that. How many illegal immigrants are in the USA? Now, of course, they're just using data out there. The Pew Research Center says there are 11 million people who are here illegally. 11 million. So I guess, yeah, 240 grand in Florida alone does make sense. Could you imagine? 11 million people. How noticeable would it be to miss 11 million people in the USA? Significantly disrupting sectors where illegal immigrants are prevalent. Hospitality, agriculture, labor shortages, increased wages. Oh no. Inflation problems. We know that's coming, guys. They're going to blame it. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to say, we're doing this. Oh no, it's not backwards anymore. They're going to say, we're doing this for you. And here's why it's okay that you have more inflation. Because we already saw the banks say it. We already saw JP Morgan say that as long as we have national security, inflation going up higher than it is today is going to be okay. That the banks are okay with it. And so if the banks are okay with it, they think you're okay with it because you are a tool of the banks. Social and community effects. Let's see, public systems. So I don't know, but at least Grok gave us a number, right? I wonder what, I'm not in Chat GPT on this window, but I wonder what Chat would say. It'd probably be like, well, we can't estimate that. Donald Trump pulling U.S. troops from Europe in a blow to NATO allies. Guys, I think that about wraps it up for us. Do you have any questions before we end the broadcast today? Just thank you for being here and taking your time out of tonight to be here with us. I mean, it's beautiful that we get to spend a little bit of time here together, as often as we do. 11 million, the population of Ohio. Let's see. What happened with getting the truth about JFK day one? They're busy redacting, remaking, doing a whole bunch of other garbage. Same thing goes with, getting Hey, Brian. It's okay. We don't really have a time set for them, but you're going to get to them. Don't worry. And thank you. Brian's a member. That's why his name's in green there. Thank you, Brian, for being a part of why these lives are even possible. So I appreciate you. Lead and asbestos in the CA wildfires. Yeah, there's a lot of warnings about toxic rain right now. And if you're getting California oranges, if you're getting tomatoes, produce from across the country, you really need to think about how you're going to make it safe to eat. It's best to get it harvested right now. The stuff that's got me concerned is next harvest, because that means all of the lithium, all of the asbestos, everything that's down. You think that they're taking and scraping off the wildfire ash from the topsoil in their next grow cycle? F no. They're just like, hey, people will eat it. These scumbags don't know any better. So the next one is the one we've got to start actively thinking about how we're going to prepare our bodies. And I don't know if you remember during Chernobyl, they found that you could reduce the amount of cesium in the body by taking pectin. And they gave it to the children in the form of like applesauce and apple cider. So you can go online and buy pectin. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you any medical advice. I can go online and buy pectin, and I can take that as it's the same stuff you make your food out of. It's real fruit pectin that you actually use in cooking. And there's documents online on amounts for put into your dietary supplemental intake. And so you can do that and help cycle through heavy metals and stuff. Will it help you with asbestos? That I don't know. Brian, that's all we can do, man, is make sure that our family's ready. Try to, not get stuck in the rat race of debt and problems that they're trying to feed down us, and just get ready. So, guys, that's what I'm thinking about, is what to do next, because the next harvest is the bad one. Well, thank you guys for being here with us, and, for always bringing an amazing group of people to our live shows. I mean, guys, we had maybe Jordan was the only moderator in there tonight. We don't even need a moderator. You guys are freaking awesome. And there's so much love for each other. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican or conservative or libertarian, or you just woke up and you don't know what you are. That's the one time I'm okay with you not knowing what you are. This isn't about looking down and not knowing. If you just woke up to the reality that they're feeding us and you're like, I don't know what ideologies I have. That's where I'm like, all right, I'm there with you. You can put X on your ideology list there. So thank you guys for being here with us. And as always, from my family, sincerely, thank you for what you do. To you and yours, please